football season is here. And Hugh, there's a lot we can unpack with the Eagles and this season and this team. And look, the expectations are high. Tomorrow, we're going to be at Royersford for our rally, and we will go through all the different, kind of the minutiae of the team.
The intricacies.
Yeah, the intricacies of the team and what we expect from all the different parts and how this season may go and the schedule of a bunch of different guests. But, Hugh, it starts and it ends with the quarterback, right? And we've all day. And we've had so many discussions this offseason about where Jalen Hurts ranks, where he should rank. But now that's in the past. You always say this. Every season is a new thing, right?
Yes, it is.
What he did last year, which obviously was good, right? They won the Super Bowl and he played his best.
Matter, but yeah.
Well, but it doesn't really matter.
Well, it does, to the sense that, that's the last game we saw him playing.
You're right about that.
And that's the last memory that we have of Jalen. Whether it's fair or not, Joe, that's what we expect to see Thursday night.
Hold on a second. Time out.
What? I'm just keeping it a bean.
No, you keep it a bean. You're saying the last thing we saw him do, which was obviously play great football in the Super Bowl.
Great quarterbacking.
I mean, he was totally in control of the flow of the game.
Great quarterback.
He was a great quarterback. I thought he was in control of the game the entire time. Like when he took off to run in the Super Bowl, when he passed, he made the right decision all the time.
Yes.
And he was great. So in the Super Bowl, he was 17 to 22, 77% completion,
yes.
221 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, throwing, 1 rushing, 119.7 passer rating, 72 yards rushing. So
yes.
Hugh Douglas, that was the last time we saw Jalen Hurts play, and he played great. So here's what I'm wondering. Are you expecting Super Bowl Hurts this season? And what I mean by that is that's excellent play. That's not good. That's not solid. That's excellent play. Hugh Douglas, are you expecting Jalen Hurts to play this season? And again, let me frame it so everyone understands. I'm not saying he has to do that every single week, but more of that. Overall, do you expect him to play like he did in the Super Bowl a lot of this season? Because last year, if we're fair, that he didn't play like that most weeks during the regular season. Do you expect it?
Allow me to long talk for a minute, Joe.
We're back.
Because I think I have to say this before I actually say what I'm going to say. For a lot of fans, the last lasting impression that we have of Jalen Hurts is the one that has shaped everything that we think about Jalen Hurts. The season didn't matter, even though for a lot of people, they can't not forget that. It's the last game you played in. And I remember it was the same when I played. We used to call it like the Janet Jackson song, "What have you done for me lately?"
Sure.
So whether it's fair or not, I'm going to say that too, whether it's fair or not, the first game in this season, even though they have not had any timing together as a cohesive unit, I expect to see the same person in that first game, again, whether it's fair or not, that I saw in the last game. So, yes, I expect him to play at that level. I expect him not to be, and I know there will be times where he will be, but I don't expect him to be as indecisive as he was the year before, because this is a year of growth, and this is a year of focus. He's broken through, and I'm pretty sure that if it's not him, his team has heard everything that was said about him. So he would do himself a huge favor. I'm not saying to go out there and throw for 300 yards, but you can't have the performance that you had last year against the Green Bay Packers. Even though y'all won that game, you can't have that performance.
Well, yeah, I would hope not, and I would hope we're graduated past a lot of the down performances, but I don't expect, and let me just put it quite frankly, he's capable of it, and I think that Jalen Hurts is going to have 3 or 4 or 5 games this year where he plays excellent football. If you go back and look last year, he had 4 games like the Super Bowl, or 3 other games you would say like the Super Bowl. The Steeler game, the Bengal game, the Jaguar game. If you look at those games, he was over 70% completion. He had 3 touchdowns or more, 275 total yards. Like, on average, once every month or so, he played a game like that. Not every week, not every game. Here's what I expected of Jalen Hurts this year. I expect him to be a good quarterback. I expect him to be one of the 10 best quarterbacks in pro football. I do think if you look at the last 4 years, since he really started going, he's a top 10-ish quarterback. Some years it's been closer to 3, right? Like the year he almost won the MVP. Some years, like let's say 2 years ago, 2023, was probably closer to like 11 or 12. But a top 10-ish quarterback. It could be 6, could be 5. That's what I expect. But Hugh Douglas, if he plays like he did in the Super Bowl most weeks this year, he could win the MVP of the league.
Well, see, Joe, this is okay. You broke it down to 3 games, right?
The games that he played, he looked like that. He was kind of totally in control.
And he won a lot of games. Whether we could sit here and play semantics, talk about who helped win, whatever.
Yep.
But I can't. There can't be. Let me pick out a few games for you. You can't have too many games like the Saints game, not the Saints game, the Rams game.
No, Saints game, Rams game. The
Rams game. Well, the Saints. We had a breakout, and it happened late in the game, but we had a breakout.
Yeah, they didn't score for the first 3 quarters.
Yeah. Okay. We can't have one of those. We got to have less of those than we had of those, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not expecting Jalen Hurts to come out and start throwing the ball all over the schoolyard because we have a solid running game and we're going to run the football. But there needs to be times, and listen to what I'm saying, people, because I know people will get in their feelings. There needs to be times where he looks more efficient in the pocket. He looks more sure of himself in the pocket. Because there were a few times this year where you look at it and you be like, you just ask, what is he doing? And we won the game, but there were a few times you're like, what is he doing? So that's what he needs to do. And not only that, Joe, he'll do himself, and I know he doesn't really care. I mean, he cares, but he acts like he doesn't care. You can silence the critics. You can silence the critics. You could have all that negativity that people say about you. If you go out there and you play a little bit more, and it's not a whole lot that I'm asking you to do. Just play a little bit more consistent.
Because it's
then
there.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. Again, last year, Steelers game, Bengals game, Jaguars game, and the Super Bowl. He played at that level, I would say, 4 times last year over the course of 19 games. 215-592-9494. Really, it comes down to this. The Jalen Hurts we saw in the Super Bowl last year, we're going to then look at it as we jump forward as one of two things. It was the jumping off point to the next stage of his career where he's consistently excellent, or it's a great game in the biggest spot. And we've seen many times in football history that players have their best game in big moments. It doesn't mean then they become a superstar player. They just have, like Nick Foles, Eli Manning. Like, we can go back to just use Super Bowls, right? We've seen times where good quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, play great in the biggest moment. And the question is, are they going to do that for the full season? Are they about to be an MVP candidate? Sometimes it is a jumping off point. Sometimes it isn't. My perception on Jalen is the same as it was before the Super Bowl. He's good. He's a winning quarterback. The Eagles are going to win a lot of football games with Jalen Hurts, but do I expect the Super Bowl level consistently throughout this season? I do not. 215-592-9494. Your expectations for Jalen Hurts. We are 2 days away from the start of the NFL season, and we've argued all offseason about how good he is. Well, now we get to watch him again stack another season into this career. What's your expectations? We've seen Super Bowl Hurts again consistently throughout this season. All right. One thing that is different this time versus the past is he has a Super Bowl to fall back on. He knows he's a champion now. We know he's a champion. Do we get a different mentality out of Jalen Hurts? Diana Rossini on her podcast with The Athletic talking about what someone close to Hurts said about his mentality entering the season.
But for me, I think the reason why they do beat the Super Bowl hangover, so to speak, is because of Jalen Hurts. Someone close to him shared with me that Jalen views this season so differently than he has every other year because now that he has the ring, it's a completely different mentality. The pressure's off, right? He's done it now.
Yeah.
So now it almost feeds into the confidence that he's done it. He knows how to do it. He knows how to win in the big moments. And look, we saw him play at an exceptional level in a loss in a Super Bowl, right? So now that he played exceptional again and has it and turned out to be the winner in it all, how could he not feel great about what he's doing and how his play is at the quarterback position? So I think a quarterback last year we would not have said was the reason why the Philadelphia Eagles could win a Super Bowl is my reason for this year why I believe that they can.
All right, there she is, Diana Rossini, talking about Hurts, people close to him, the jumping off point, the Super Bowl last year. I think it was interesting she brought up how he played in the Super Bowl the first time, right, against the Chiefs, the first time when they lost, because he played great in that game.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us thought that was the jumping off point to him then being consistently excellent. In 2023, the year after the first Super Bowl appearance, he didn't play great. He had 15 interceptions, and then he bounced back the next year. So sometimes I think we want it to be the jumping off point. Doesn't mean it's going to be. I expect Hurts to be what he's been basically his whole Eagles career. Good to very good. Consistently great? No, I'm not expecting that. Kyle, where do you come down? It's football season. We're 2 days away from the opener. Your expectation for Jalen Hurts?
So I had a lot of time to think this offseason. Spent a lot of time alone with my thoughts. Sometimes I think about what's going on.
That's right.
With the Eagles and stuff and my expectations. And I talked myself into something. And it doesn't really have anything to do with Jalen Hurts. It has everything to do with that Saquon, I think, has a very good chance to repeat.
Oh, now we're talking. I agree with you.
So with that being said, I don't think the Eagles are going to require that type of play from Jalen Hurts this season. I think, now, do I want him to be a little bit more decisive like you were saying during the regular season next year? Yeah, like I think everybody will feel better about him and the team if we get that on a week-to-week basis from him. But I don't think they're going to need what he had to do against the Chiefs all season next year. And the other thing about it is, and this is one of the things that I actually really like about Jalen Hurts, I don't think he gives a crap about going out there and silencing critics. I really don't. Like, I actually believe him at his word when he says, all I care about is doing whatever it takes to win a football game. And I think with how good I expect Saquon to be next season, I don't think Jalen is really even thinking about that. Like, so if they're able to do this thing where they lean on Saquon again, and by the way, new play caller, I think it would be smart for him to try and lean on some of the things that worked last season.
Totally.
And when you have a playmaker like Saquon Barkley, lean on him again. And I don't know if it's like 20 passing attempts or 25 passing attempts from Jalen Hurts, and he's 20 for 25 again and like 200 yards, and that's all they need. Like, good. I think that might end up being what it actually takes for them again this season.
That was the formula. I've said a million times this offseason, he reminds me of Russell Wilson in Seattle. And Russell Wilson in Seattle was very good, very effective, but they had a formula that worked. They ran the football a lot. They played great defense, and Russell played clutch and played smart football and ran around and did a lot of good things. But, you know, when it was on Russell to throw 40 times, it wasn't quite the same. And eventually they realized that. That's what I view Hurts as. I expect a regular season from Jalen similar to last year. I hope, like Q said, and Kyle reiterated, like it's a little more steady and there's less up and down, and he makes quicker decisions, all that kind of stuff. But if he plays like he did in the Super Bowl, he's going to be an MVP candidate. I don't expect that in 2025 from Jalen Hurts. It sounds like Hugh Douglas already put his Jalen Hurts MVP bet in.
Well,
That's what I'm hearing this morning.
You know what? And I think Kyle said it best. Jalen doesn't care what we think, but I think he would, as long as he wins. Let me say that. It's probably going to be ugly, but I guess for the purposes of his legacy and what people say about him, if he cares about that, is that it would be nice if he did a little bit more quarterbacking than he did, just a little bit. And I don't say that. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying that in a way where there's a lot of times where people are like, what the hell is he doing? Like, what is that? Like taking 7 sacks in a game and still winning that. Like, you don't want to tempt fate too many times like that. You don't want to do that. Well,
yeah, I mean, I would say most games in the NFL, you take 7 sacks, you lose. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is. The Eagles happen to win that football game. 215-592-9494. Yeah, and I think he is uniquely built for everything they do here. Again, he played at Alabama and Oklahoma. He played with a lot of great players. So you go back to the Alabama days, he wasn't really getting all the credit for them winning. It's Alabama. Every quarterback, maybe except the one there now, but they all win at Alabama, or they did with Nick Saban. So I don't think it bothers Jalen if they ask him to throw 17 times and he completes 11 passes, like, go back to the game against the Ravens last year. He doesn't need to put up huge numbers for them to win. We saw that last season. But what we saw in the Super Bowl was decisive. It was in total control. It was great accuracy. He was awesome. He was the Super Bowl MVP. He was great in that football game. I think we'll see 3 or 4 of those games this year because that's how he plays. I don't think we're going to see a full season of it. I don't expect that.